And we're back. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but in case you didn't see, our the Mick the Harris just flashed women's qualifier boulder number one.
Two attempts. So
Sorry, just
she
two
was able to
attempts.
send it
Yeah.
in two attempts.
So far, as a recap for those who weren't able to catch the first part, we had Shell Suarez flash the first boulder, and Mick De Harris take the top
Two
in two
attempts.
attempts. So you can see right now on the screen that the women's one is being brushed. So you see that louder.
Louder.
Okay, sorry about that. So, as I was saying, if you kind of take a look at the first problem, the start is a bit tricky, right? You kind of have to jump to the foothold on the right side of the volume. It's kind of like a bit of a coordination move.
That's right. You have to swing out. So once you get stable on the first hold, you reach out to the next hold to the upper right, and you have to swing your feet out to that foothold on the bottom part of the volume.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sort of a coordination move, not too complex for the open qualifiers, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the other open competitors take this. I wonder if this is the easiest boulder that was set today.
From my experience and what I know, setters will give you a sort of a quote unquote feel good problem
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the start of the
yeah.
qualifiers,
Yeah.
just to get your confidence up. And normally, yes, so those are the problems that will be setting at the start. And then as you progress towards the next problems, it may get heavier and harder, more complex. But yes, typically at the first problem, not necessarily a giveaway, but it's one of the easier ones.
Gotcha. Can you tell us a bit about the format? You were saying you wanted to give the audience a bit of an idea about this format.
Yes, so we have two different formats for the open qualifiers for both men and women. It's a rotation format. So this is what you will be seeing in international events, IFC World Cups, in World Championships. So climbers, competitors will be climbing all the problems one after another. The first climber will head out, go to problem number one, head back out for isolation, and then the next climber out, and then they take turns climbing each boulder problem set on the wall. So for both men and women's qualifiers, you will be expecting this. However, when we get to the intermediate category, it's a Phoenix or Flash format. So what is a Flash format? You will have set of boulder problems on the field, but all the competitors will be out on the area at the same time. You will have limited time. They have limited time, 2 hours, and then they will climb as many problems, as many attempts as they can, and the more tops they get, and in less attempts, of course, they will place higher. So
Right.
it's different from the open qualies, what we're seeing now, where they have to climb one at a time on each problem.
Right, right. Now we have our two women competitors coming out. So two problems are going to be climbed at the same time. We have Shell Suarez on women's two on that blue problem on the right, and on the left we have Liana Mora all the way from CDO. So a bit of background on these two climbers. So Shell is a very experienced athlete competing in both OCR and bouldering in lead competitions here and abroad, while Liana is one of the strongest outdoor climbers we know. She's very, very strong, climbs a lot of boulders, and lead also outdoors in her hometown of CDO. And I bet a lot of people from there are proud to be represented here at Nationals by Liana. Oh, Shell takes a spill on W2.
Actually, she's not just the only Mora who's competing today. Her brother, Iman, is competing today, and Iman's wife.
There goes the flash. Liana gets a flash. Did she get a flash? Was it a flash? I'm
That
sorry.
was a flash.
It's kind of hard to tell. We're from the commentators booth. We're a bit blocked here by a wall, so we kind of have to peer over.
So we have on the wall still working out. The problem number 2 for women is Shell Suarez.
So take a look at these blue pill holes. They're big and they're slopey, and they're angled a certain way. So you see the chalk marks. If you see the white stuff on the hole, those are chalk marks. And typically, when climbers climb, they put chalk on their hands, and when they touch the holes, the chalk transfers to the holes. So it kind of gives you an idea of how to climb a problem. So there's Shell, getting that sloper, putting her weight under the sloper. And that move is quite heavy.
That looks a very physical move. I'm not particularly fond of these blue pill holds actually.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
they're normally when you see them on the wall, especially on the overhanging wall of Beehive, they tend to be very physical and very heavy.
Very burly.
Yeah.
The angle as well, you can't see it from here, but that is an overhang. There's not a lot of holes on the roof, so the angle's not that aggressive, but it still is quite overhung.
And the third hold where the zone hold,
Yeah, the one with the yellow
It's-
tapes, the
it's-
zone hold.
it's used as an undercling with an open hand, so it's not like a crimp. This one looks like she has to step out to the
Yeah.
volume the moment she catches with her right hand.
So in order for that hold to become positive, by positive I mean for you to be able to hold onto that hold, you need to get your feet under it. You need to stand up so you can put downwards pressure with your feet and pull on that undercling with your hand.
From what I'm seeing, it looks like once she matches here, she has to swing out her right foot because that zone hold is not very positive if you don't have your feet on under you. So it looks like that when she gets to the second hold after she matches, kind of similar to the first problem, she has to swing out to the right, and there's a small jib on on that volume actually. She has to step out there and before she grabs the next undercling hold. So it looks like that's what the roots setters have intended.
If you kind of take a look at it in women's one, it's a bit similar in that when she catches that undercling, she does need to get her foot on the jib there. So she catches it and she needs to swing out to the right.
There you go. So
There we go.
she has to
Beautifully
get-
done.
There you go.
She gets a knee bar and gets that. Oh. So that will count as a zone.
Zone, yes.
So the pointing system. Oh, okay. Here she goes with another try. That move is very physically taxing.
So tell me, Beato, how do they score these open qualifiers? What is a zone and what is a top?
So the objective in a bouldering competition is to climb or to finish a bouldering problem with the least amount of attempts. There is a top. A top means you reach the top of a boulder.
The last
and you
hold
match
of
your
the boulder
hands.
problem.
Yeah, the last hold. And a zone is kind of sort of like a half point where you're awarded points if you're able to hold on to a hold in the middle of the problem and use it to move. So if you just hold on it, it doesn't count as a point. You need to move.
So what Beato is saying is you can't just tap a zone hold. You have to be stable and you have to be controlled when you get to that position for it to count as a score or as a zone.
Yeah, you need to move. That's the thing that I learned. You need to move on it. If the judge is really strict, they won't award you a point for just matching on. And here's Mick Harris on women's qualifier number 2. Very experienced competitor. but she has actually switched sports recently to obstacle course racing, and she does place there as well. Now we have Sarah. We have Sarah Aquino on. Sorry,
Sarah Aquino
Sarah,
Gomez. Sarah Aquino Gomez
on women
women's
one.
one.
Allen. Come on, Sarah.
All right, you can hear the crowd cheering them on. Ooh,
Plenty of time, ladies. Plenty of time.
Sarah trying to get her toe on that foothold on the volume, not quite getting it. She's a bit, I think she's a bit, I'm not sure if she's a bit shorter than the last two competitors, but she needs a lot of core tension to push on that foothold so she can stick stick the move.
That's correct. She may be a bit shorter than the first two competitors. I believe Mick and Shell have a positive ape index.
Ah.
So definitely compared to Sarah, might not be as long. So she has to put a little bit more effort to stick that
Ale.
kick out to the right.
So we've seen now that we've seen two women's qualifier problems, we can see that the second one is a lot more burly than the first. Okay, here's Sarah Aquino Gomez, women's one. She needs to get that core.
There
She
you go.
gets it. She's crimping that. I think the setters wanted them to pinch that hold since there's a red hold underneath, but they've just been crimping it so far.
Well, if you can crimp it,
Why not? So she's trying to. Oh, she's trying to get the next hold, which is above the volume. But a while ago she fell, I think, because she doesn't have her foot on the chip. So there's a little foothold under on the lower side of the volume. Yeah, so there you can see there's on the lower part of the volume there are two holds, right? And the smaller one is where she needs to get her foot.
You guys want it quiet? You guys want it loud? Come on! Woo!
I don't think so. So Carlo, have you tried brushing those holds? The
have I
blue
tried
holds.
brushing those holes?
those blue holds?
Those blue holds. Well, whenever I visit Beehive, so yes, I have gotten to try brushing them.
Oh,
But then again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not particularly fond of those blue
big
bill
burly.
holds. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sarah sticks the toe stab right there. And this is where she fell off a while ago. Let's see if she can get her heel or her toe on that foot chip and rock over. Oh, I think that's a pretty physical move, right? Getting the zone on women's one.
Seems like it. I think she just has to lock off and reach up with her left. But again, that big volume out there, it just the weight shape, it pushes out your body.
Right. Ale, Sarah. She's got the first part down. She's locked in that beta, and now she's trying to get the heel, but can't quite rock over to get the zone. Great attempt by Sarah Aquino Gomez.
So next set of climbers out.
Right.
So we have Shell on
We have Shell, Liana,
problem number 3. We have Liana on
Dre.
problem number 2. And Dre Mora, the wife of Iman Mora, is on problem number 1.
Okay, so right now we have our competitors reading the route. So it's very important to read the routes because the best thing you can do in a climbing competition is flash a route. And when I say flash, it's like you do it on the first try.
That's correct. So on a score sheet, the best possible score you can get is you have four tops, four zones, and attempts to top is four. Attempts to zone is four. So if you have the lowest amount of attempts, that's definitely gonna go
Yep.
to your advantage because, especially if you finish the boulder problems, that means you only climb them once.
Oh, I think this is Shell's first attempt with women's three, and she's already on her way to the zone. This is a more aggressive problem, the first two, and wow, gets the zone on the first attempt. All right, that will count as a zone.
Yes, it will.
Look at that angle. That
So-
angle is pretty intense.
So Shell is going for the flash
Wow.
over here.
And an amazing flash. And Shell Suarez
and
in
she gets it.
women's three. Huh? Okay.
So we see here, so we just recently had Shell Flash, women's number 3. Currently on the wall, we still have Liana Mora on the women's 2,
and Dre Mora.
Ray Mora in women's 1.
Liana on her, is it her second attempt on women's two? Oh,
I think she's had more than two
more than
attempts
two
already.
attempts already. So the thing with getting slopers is you need to put your entire body under
Underneath.
It.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
if,
correct.
if you're even a fraction of a degree off of that, you're going to feel you're going to have a hard time compressing or pushing down on the hold because slopers get better when you have more weight on your hands, which your body can provide. But for that to happen, you need to be under the hold.
Yes. So for slopers, that's correct. The best possible position is you're underneath them. The more you get up on that sloper, the
There
less
we go.
positive it becomes.
That's-
So that's what she's doing over here.
There, you can see she has her body under it, so she's able to hold. And now she's trying to go for the undercling here. We've seen our last two competitors struggle in this part. It's very heavy getting to that zone hold. Ooh, she's trying to skip it for that.
Trying
for that,
to use the foothold.
That
There was
is
a-
legal, by the way.
That is legal, so you can. Every part of the boulder problem, whether it was intended for a foothold, it is legal. You can use it. If you're able to use it, then that means you're able to outsmart the route setters.
But the interesting thing to note is that if you skip the zone hold, you won't be awarded the zone hold,
That's
even
correct.
if you top. The,
You won't be awarded the zone hold, so that goes against you and
Yeah.
and your score.
Tops are a lot more important than zones though. So sometimes you'd see climbers skip the zone hold. As long as they can top it, if they get 4 tops, then if they get 4 flashes, they'll probably win, or at least place really high podium finish.
But for situations like that, you really have to. It's part of your strategy, yes, but you have to consider if it's gonna be worth it. So if you feel like you can go straight for the last hold for the top, then that will do well for you. But sometimes, if you don't think it's good for you, you just go straight for the top hold, and you miss it. And if you don't get a zone, then you lose that point on your score.
Zones are also important because sometimes you'll have really difficult problems where no one can top anything, and it comes down to zones.
Zones, that's
Yeah.
correct.
We now have listening on problem number 3.
And now we have our strong climbers out.
Introducing
Sun's out, guns out.
problem number 1.
We have Mick De Harris, Sarah Gomez, and I think just two climbers this time.
It's Jem Cabanlong on
Oh no, there's a
women's one.
right.
Can you mention the name of the
All right. So right now we have our competitors reading the routes. It's very important stage is to read the routes. This is the first time our competitors will be seeing these routes, so they need to formulate a plan in under like 3 minutes and climb it. So that's what climbing is about. It's about problem solving. And here we have Atimik on W3. This is very much her style. Old school, aggressive moves.
Nick secures the zone.
Wow, beautiful right hand catch there on the volume. Those holds are small. I've climbed on those white holds there. The edges aren't that great. It's kind of like hanging on a hangboard. Oh, beautiful heel. It's going for the heel. Very nice. She gets her hand on the hexagon. She's only 2 holds away from stopping this problem.
Nick progressing very well on this women's 3.
Yes.
Going for the flash.
You see that strength right there.
That's it.
Amazing top by Nick Harris.
She gets the flash.
We've seen 2 flashes so far in W3. Despite the heavy angle, I think the holds are pretty comfortable because each of those hexagon edges can be used like a large crimp. So even if it looks like there's not too many holds on the white, there's actually a lot of holds on the white.
Seeing more climbers out and about.
On the white problem, that is.
Qualifiers.
So we have Jem on women's 1. She's currently trying to get the toe stab that Sarah had problems getting on her last climb.
So far, all the 3 problems that have been climbed by our competitors, it's only the second one that has not yet been topped. We've only had one zone, which was by Shell, but the rest of the problems we've seen tops in M1 and in W1 and W3, but the one with the blue pill holds, we have not seen any tops yet.
Yeah, I think it's probably the burliest of the 3 we've seen. By burly, I mean very physically demanding.
It looks like it, yes.
Lots of shoulder and core strength required. Sarah getting the sloper.
Just a little reminder for our audience. If you do need to talk to any of the marshals, please find the ones that aren't in
Here
the
we have
audience
Jem.
area.
Jem
For now,
Cabanlong on
the marshals are
W1.
currently located around the back area of the
Jem
building.
actually is an avid outdoor climber. She's recently sent an
hard.
outdoor route graded 7C plus or 8/8A, which is
Wow.
Django.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So she's pretty strong climber.
Oh, she gets the rock over. She gets that pinch. So on her right hand, you can see that she has this pinch. That's not a great pinch.
Stare it down.
Whoa, amazing work by Jem. She just needs to match it because that won't count as a top unless she has both hands stable.
There you go. That's a top for Jem.
Beautiful.
Come on.
Sarah struggling with the zone hold here.
So let's go. We're right behind you. Literally.
So a while ago, Carlo, you were mentioning the route that Jem climbed. Have you actually seen that route in person?
I've seen that route, and it's on the section of Uling Wall. That's at the bottom part, where you have the it's mired in ash, the black area of Uling Wall, and it's overhanging at the bottom. So it's a route that's no joke. So it's a route graded 7C plus 8A. That's a heavy route, and she recently sent that. So if you're questioning what her strength is, she's very strong.
Very, very strong. Only a handful of, or a very small percentage of climbers ever get to climb 8A. Now we have our next batch of competitors out. We have
Jamie
on
Nam.
yeah, on we have Jamie Nung on the first qualifying problem.
Problem number 2 with
And we have Dre Mora on problem number 2.
problem number 3 and Shell Suarez on
Liana Mora on problem number 3 and Shell Suarez on problem number 4. So now the camera is gonna get a bit chaotic because the camera work is gonna be a bit chaotic because we have like 4 climbers climbing. So we might need to we might not be able to capture everything for the audience. So apologies in advance, but we'll do our best. So Jamie has been climbing for quite a long time. I think since she was 7.
If we just pan out to the
there we
problem
go.
number 4, it's
Wow.
a dynamic start, and it's another flash.
Another flash
for Shell Suarez. Very comp style route with dynamic and paddle move to the zone.
We have Liana Mora on W3. This is very much her wheelhouse. I think this is very, very much her wheelhouse. Those tiny crimps are nothing to her. She's climbed a lot harder things outdoors, a lot worse crimps, and amazing work by Liana Mora. She gets the flash. Now the camera is focusing on women's 2. We have Dre Mora trying out the Burley sloper problem. We've seen a lot of people struggle even just to get to the third big sloping hold. Let's see if she can figure out how best to position her body to get a zone here.
We're not yet halfway through the competitors list here for women's, but we'll see which one of these women will be able to get a top. It's looking like it's a very valuable qualification problem. That if you get to top this one, that will help bump you up the list as it's looking like the other 3 problems are quite doable.
Yep.
So if you get to finish women's 2, it's gonna be a lot helpful for your score.
I think if we have a competitor who can top women's 2, they'll probably have 4 tops. That's my prediction here. So I think the people to watch are the women, are the competitors who can get a zone on W2.
You actually have 5 problems. So after the dynamic problem with the green holes, we still have problem number 5.
Oh right, we do have one more that we haven't seen on camera, and it's like a
It's gonna
bunch
be on
of
the
pink holes.
yes, it's gonna be on the slab wall.
Here we have Jamie trying again, and Dre Mora taking some time to rest in between her attempts. So Jamie climbs at Centro, which is more known for really difficult top rope and lead certification climbs. So, oh, beautiful! She gets the zone. She just needs to rock over in that toe. If she can get that transition to the pinch, she should lock this route down. Ale, Jamie. See that rock over is very physically demanding, but she gets the pinch. Now she just needs to stand up on that volume and transition to the next handhold, which is the last one. Look at that concentration, that effort right there. She knows she's got it.
Oh, she just pops off. It looks like in that section of women's 1, you really have to maintain body tension. So you're not just relying on the grip of your pinch, but you have to maintain that body tension that you're able to rock over. He's stable and steady to get to the last hole.
Filipino Studying IG, the instructions are posted. And that's fine. Thank you so much.
Jamie actually started, from our information here on the climbers, she actually started at the young age of 7, and she's been a regular competitor in climbing events. She usually finishes in the top 6 in the finals, but I have not yet, in big events like nationals, she may not have won yet.
Gem on problem number 2, Sarah G on problem number 3, and Nick.
Right, we have our next batch of competitors out. Let's see these strong climbers and what they can do.
So you see here, this is Mick on problem number 4. So if you get to see here, it's a dynamic start and a paddle move to the zone hole. So a paddle move is a climbing, it's a comp style move. Definitely very exciting to watch, wherein you move from one hole to the other in a successive manner.
Oh, what a
Oh, but-
beautiful dyno by Mick
But
DeHarris.
she stops the paddle and just holds on to
Very strong.
that second hole.
If you're strong, you don't need to
Yeah,
do
you
what
don't
the
need.
setters intend. Oh, what a beautiful stand by Mick DeHarris.
So that's a flash for Mick.
So I think these kinds of routes are nothing to Mick, because Ate Mick has been competing in OCR and they do a lot of those kinds
A
of
lot of
routes there.
jumping, a lot of running.
We have a local favorite here at Beehive, Megan Francisco is one of the managers here at Beehive, and wow, making short work of that problem. Takes that rock over with no problem. She just needs to top it out. Match the last hole. Come on. She's right there. She just
Megan
needs to
here,
stabilize.
yes.
Match that.
Megan getting a lot of cheers and support from the home crowd. And she gets
Beautiful
the
top
top.
by Megan.
Very good. Come on, Sarah. Ali. It's okay. Shake all the nerves off. You got this.
So we still have
We have Sarah,
Sarah
Gomez and Jem
Cabanlong on women's 3 and women's 2 respectively.
So let's see if Jem can make progress in this. Arguably the hardest problem we've seen so far.
Yes.
Of the 4 that we've been exposed to.
We have seen no tops yet out of this boulder problem.
Nice. She has her body weight under that sloper but can't quite get it because her feet swing out.
Nice push.
So if you're just so you're aware, you can check out the tally scores. It's being updated currently, so you can head to ph-boulder-nationals.tallytop.com for the scores. So it's the website for the Boulder Nationals. And currently we have at the top of the pack is Shell Suarez with 3 tops, followed by Mick also with 3 tops. But what's separating them is Shell had a flash. Shell had a flash on the 3 problems that she did. Mick took 4 attempts to the top. So they're separated by a flash. You'll see how crucial that flash is.
Readability with all the different shapes and movements.
So we have Sarah Gomez here on women's 3, and she's trying to do a Gaston move. Oh, she sticks the Gaston, cuts feet, but gets it back on track. And nice, she gets the zone hold. Now she needs to move on it to be awarded the point. And there we go, that's a zone for Sarah. Oh, Sarah fighting to keep on the wall. Come on, Sarah.
Oh! Just hanging on for dear life.
Give it another go, yeah?
So in the comments, on the YouTube comments, we have some supporters here from TS, from Tandansora, Power of
Mr.
Tandansora.
Miel Pahati,
And
former strongest climber in the Philippines.
oh, still might be the strongest climber in the Philippines, you know.
You might have a run for his money with our competitors today.
True. Um, yeah, sorry about the camera work. Day one of the live stream is just done ad hoc. We don't actually have a professional prod team on ground, so we'll do our best to communicate issues we have with the camera. But for now, please bear with us.
So now we get to see. So now we get to see boulder number 5 for women's. So Shell is out there, first one to try it out. It's on the slab wall with the pink holds.
We have Sai Marata. Problem number 2, Jamie. Problem number 3,
And her first time out for this qualifiers is Sai Murata on women's 1.
Oh, there we have Silene Murata on women's 1. Wow, making it look easy. Representing Tandang Sora. Oh! I really thought she had the flash right there, but looks like that rock over. She's a bit shorter than the rest of our competitors, so it's a bit of a difficult move for her. Here we have Liana getting the zone hold on women's 4. And let's see if she can do that transition to that jug over the lip, and she does. 2 more holds to go. Oh, nice. Beautifully done. Liana gets the top.
So far, it's looking like women's 4 is one of the easier ones. If you're pretty good at jumping, this looks like one of the easier problems out in the field. So far, we've seen 3 tops and 3 flashes.
Yeah, it's a very
For women's
jumpy move, but all of those holds are jugs.
Yeah, they're pretty good holds. That's
Those
correct.
green holds are usually reserved for the beginner easy routes, but then they've angled them in such a way that it's a bit hard. Now we have Shell Suarez on the last problem, the women's qualifiers. This is a slab problem. Ooh. And usually we see a lot of competitors struggle on the slab because it's very technical, requires very precise footwork and exact balance.
I'm not particularly fond of slabs either. I don't like climbing on slab. I like overhanging old school moves, but in a competition, you have to be proficient with all types of climbing, including a slab wall.
I don't think many people are slab lovers. It takes a very rare person to be slab lover.
It's kind of scary also because if you fall, there's a possibility you might scrape a knee or a body part. But you have to deal with it. It's part of the competition. If you don't practice it, then you're not going to be good at it. So as much as you don't like it, you have to do it.
That's true. Usually in climbing competitions, there will be at least one slab. So you cannot take it out of your training or you will miss like, I don't know, 20 to 25% of the points, right? So off camera, we have Shell Suarez. There we go. We have Shell Suarez trying the last problem, but she just fell off. So we haven't seen her yet transition past the zone.
So she has not yet actually secured the zone. She was able to touch it, but as mentioned and explained earlier by Beato, you have to move onto it. So she is currently only has 4 zones. That means she has not yet secured the zone hold for problem number 5. It's looking like the slab problem looks very tricky.
Competitors in the men's open.
We have Sai going for it again.
But I think she already has secured the zone hold. She's moving past,
Oh,
making
amazing!
progress, going for the
Going for the
top.
top.
There we go. And
Amazing
Shell gets five,
Four tops.
four tops.
Four tops.
Four tops out of
And
five
five
problems.
zones.
So she is at the top of the leaderboard with four tops out of five problems.
And here we go. Sai is at her high point right now. She gets the top. Amazing work by Sailin Murata. We have Jamie stabilizing on this terrible sloper hold. We've seen so many climbers fall off.
Are you pumped up and excited for your qualifiers later? It's been so long since we've had a nationals ever since
So far, I think we can gauge that the big problems to watch are women's 2 and women's 5. Unless we see climbers make short work of women's 5,
Yes.
I think it might be a little less hard, but still almost as hard as women's 2. That's correct. Just a different style.
On problem number 1.
We have Ia Lapid on problem number 1. So, interesting factoid. Ia used to be very much a big part of the competitive climbing scene here. But she took something like a 2 or 3 year break in 2016 or 2015 when CCM opened. So she's now getting back into her
Her competition form.
yeah. Very excited to see. Yeah, we have Jem on women's 3 and Sarah on women's 4. And Sarah is making short work of that green problem. This is going to be an easy top for her.
Yeah. So
Ale,
far the
Sarah.
trend is women's 4 is the easiest problem of the 5 qualifying problems.
With Mick Tejares on the last problem of the women's qualifier. And we have Jem here fighting for her life.
There you go.
Oh, amazing latch there on that small crimp. I'm not sure how many millimeters that is, but maybe it's probably like 15. My best guess would be 15 to 20 millimeters.
Yeah, moving out to the volume.
She just needs. I think this is probably locked down already. Oh, she just needs to.
Oh, she's using her cap.
Amazing! There we go!
That's a top.
Nice top for Jem.
For Jem Cabanlong.
Nice one. Come on. Let's go, Ian. Let's go, Megan. And Miss I.
So we have here out on the wall is Ia Lapid on women's 1. And we still have Mick Harris on women's 5 on the slab section.
So plenty of time. Solid moves right here. Come on.
Mick Harris on the slab.
Nice one. Nice one.
Wow! Look, she's standing on that volume. Let's see if she can get the zone. She just needs to stabilize.
There you go.
All right.
If she's stable, she gets the zone.
There we go. That will count. She needs to use the zone. She needed to use the zone to move to the next hole. That's the big takeaway I got. Those volumes you should see her feet on, they're not that great if you're actually stepping on them. They're angled, they're sloping downward, so there's a specific way you should step on them, or else your foot pops off, just like that.
Do they not have as much texture as the walls here in Beehive, the volumes?
No, I would say they have the same kind of sandy texture. It's just the angle. The angle on that wall is not great, and there's no jib there. If you look at it, it's just the volume.
And also we have Brie and Rye Bakery selling food today in the bistro as well. So While it's still pretty much breakfast time, go grab a snack as we enjoy
So
the
Mick Harris going for another
here
attempt in women's
today
5.
during this qualifiers. And those are really good talking and hands outside. Yes, care of one seat. And I think, not entirely sure, but I think Jacob's well Chinese here as well. So we have some good beverages on hand.
So Mick Harris making another go attempt for the top.
Also provide, okay, so for the competitors, reform age
And her right foot pops off again.
assessment, massage, cupping, and more at the isolation.
So that's a tricky part when it comes
So
to
any of the athletes competing,
competition or modern
feel free to
climbing.
go to the isolation area to get a checkup.
You typically
A massage
setters will be
or
putting
cupping, whichever you wanna do.
volumes with no footholds, no grips on them. So you really have to rely on putting as much rubber on these slopey and angled footholds,
That's
angled volumes. So that's the tricky part. Is these are something that you definitely do not see outdoors. So if you are an outdoor climber, you might not be used to this. If you're a competitive climber, then yes, you're training for it. So these are two different things. Outdoor climbing, modern competition climbing, you really have to train for each of them if you want to excel at both of them.
Yeah, they're very, like, just because you're a very strong outdoor climber doesn't mean it translates indoor, especially when you have these newfangled moves. Coordination
Yes.
problems, paddle dynos, 360 bat hangs. It depends. And we've seen some of those outdoors, but
Like for example, when Adam Ondra was training for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, he went to Japan for a bit to practice modern bouldering, all the coordination moves, because that is his weakness.
Right.
He's a very strong outdoor climber.
Yeah.
However, he needed to get used to all the new school coordination moves. That's why he went to Japan, which is famous for all these modern climbing.
yeah.
Doing her first
There's a funny joke that people say it's like V7 at your gym, but V3 in Japan.
Hey, that's correct. I've heard that before, and it's not far from the truth.
All right, so we have Jamie Nung on women's 3. Let's see how she fares with this quite physical problem.
Come on.
So we have Catherine Reyes or Cat Reyes in women's 1.
So Kat's from Verticality, the Verticality gym in Iloilo.
Iloilo. So you have plenty of climbers from around the Philippines joining us today in 2023 Bouldering Nationals. You have people from Manila, you'll have from Visayas
yeah.
and CDO in the south. They've all descended to this year's bouldering event.
Yeah, so the cool thing about Iloilo is that there's a lot of really world-class crags there, outdoor crags. So we have a lot of strong, I think, outdoor climbers in Iloilo.
Are there outdoor bouldering?
More I'm watching
I haven't heard of it, but if any Iloilo people are tuning in and you know of boulders, let us know in the comments.
But they have a very famous outdoor wall, Igbaras.
Multiple famous outdoor walls, not Igbaras and what's the other one?
I know, I'm not sure, I haven't been there. So, but when I do have the time, when I'm strong enough, I'd love to be able to visit Iloilo.
Oh, we have Jamie here. She gets the zone. One thing you notice about Jamie's climbing is it's very fluid. She's not much of a run and jump and dyno kind of girl, but you can see she's taking her time. Very much like the ethos of a lead climber. Shows you her roots in
Rope climbing.
rope climbing. Yes.
So, in the climbing circle, would typically say they're more of an old school style climber. Very static, very flowy. As with new school climbers who you'll see they tend to like to jump more, to do
Yeah.
more dynamic coordination movements. So that one with Jamie, what you saw, that was more of an old school style of climbing, which is actually for this problem that looks like what you need. It's an old school style of climbing with the crimps,
Yeah,
with very slow movement. There's no dynamic movement required on that one. Just crimp hard on overhanging wall.
that's true. That's very true. We have Sai Murata on women's two. So I think from watching Sai last Asian Cup, I would think she's one of the climbers with the strongest. I think maybe grip strength, contact strength. I don't know, but she was able to climb a problem that none of the
other-
women
I
yeah
see.
could actually send. She got a top. So is that we have our Iloilo climber on women's one.
Alright, so the binding isolation
That's Kat.
room, as it is
That's cap.
self-described, it is where our competitors isolate to recoup and
So I didn't get to
recharge.
see. Did you see if Liana was able to get the zone on women's five?
I'm not sure, but it didn't look like she was able to progress beyond the zone.
So I think what's very tricky about modern bouldering is you do really need to get used to the moves, and you need a facility that has the holds that are commonly used in climbing.
Yes, that's so Beehive. One of those is one of those facilities that has modern type of holds. If you would like to get accustomed to modern climbing, modern bouldering, then yes, Beehive is the place. And looking at the scores, it looks like Liana did not secure the zone hold for problem number 5.
She has
So-
3 tops and 4 zones.
So right now, the score we're having is Sochelle currently at the top with.
Oh wait, no, she did. She got the zone.
Oh, she did get the zone, so it
awarded
did
zone.
not updated yet.
Yeah.
So yes, so we have Shell at the top with 4. Liana has 3 tops and 2 zones.
5 zones.
5 zones. So Liana has 3 tops and 5 zones. Mick has 3 tops and 4 zones.
Coming in on problem number 1.
Followed by Jem with 2 tops. Sarah with 1 top
Number 2, we have
and 2 zones.
on the
Currently in
floor.
6th is Megan with 1 top.
We have Kitty Abenohar on women's one. So Kitty is one of the up and coming climbers we have. Very strong boulder. We see her around. Oh, looks like she's making short work of that rock over there. I have no doubt she can stick this pinch move.
Kitty actually was the champion back in the novice category of 2019 Bouldering Nationals.
Wow!
Also here in Beehive. So she was a novice competitor
Now she's
almost
open.
4 years ago. Now she's at the open category.
We have Megan Francisco on the crimpy old school overhang white problem of women's 3. Then interesting thing I think about Megan is that she says she has weak shoulders, but look at that strength right there. I don't think the shoulders look weak at all. She gets the zone, moves past the zone, making those tiny crimps look easy. Alright, here we go. Crimps all the way, baby. She gets the right hand crimp, and she just needs to match on those 2 last holds. And she gets it. Very nice.
Megan gets another top.
How many tops does Megan have now?
So Megan has, that would be her 2nd top.
Nice. And we have Jem on this big juggy problem. So as an outdoor climber, she's climbing it quite outdoor style. Not as dynamic, but more clean, smooth, and calculated.
So with climbing, it's not necessarily that a route was intended to be, say, dynamic or of a certain style, that you have to climb it that way. If you're strong enough and it does not suit your own personal style, you can break the beta and climb it the way you feel like it will work for you. So
Yeah.
with her She climbed it her style, not to not the paddle move.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, but the dyno is still required because it's a far hole. But she climbed it steadily. It's still within her personality and climbing style.
Yeah, you know, whatever works for you. Whatever style you need to send the problem, that's what you use.
That's actually what I love about climbing is that if something is required of you to do it one way, you don't have to do it. If you have a different beta for a boulder problem or for a route, if it works, go ahead.
That's true.
That's what's important is to get to finish it and get to the top.
One thing though is I think some of these problems are designed so to be climbed either statically or dynamically, and while you can do them with the opposite style, it's not as efficient. Like if you try to static a super like dynamic route, right?
That's true. That's true.
So you might expend more energy, and this is a big strategy I think in competition climbing. It's the management of your energy because you have multiple problems to climb, not
Just for the qualifiers, and if you proceed to the finals, then you have another set of problems. That's correct.
And here we have Sarah Gomez on the tricky slab problem. Very, very tricky slab problem that only a few of our competitors have been able to even zone. Brave attempt there by Sarah. Good job, Sarah. So maybe it's time to check out some of the comments.
This morning, my gosh.
Live chat.
We just started.
Okay, next batch of competitors coming out. With 205, we have Kat Reyes from Iloilo.
We also have Kat on problem number 2. On our third problem.
If there's any
side.
supporters from Iloilo, shout out in the comments.
Problem is Jamie, and on our
Mga Ilonggoda.
problem we have Dre.
On women's one, her first climb for today, we have Antonina Arungayan.
Actually,
She's from also Iloilo.
Ah,
Antonia, nickname is Justine. She's an Iloilo climber. She was previously a youth competitor, but now has moved up to the pros.
we have on camera here. We have Jamie Nung making short work of the green problem, and Sai looking super comfortable on that white problem. I would bet you a burger right now that Sai can flash this white one.
I'm pretty hungry.
Okay. Oh, come on, Sai! Don't make me lose my burger. Wow! Look at that, skipping the
Goes for
hexagon.
That's second to the last volume with her right hand and skips
Easy,
the screw on the right.
making that look easy. That's nothing for like the angles you see in Tandang Sora. I think this kind of climbing. It's very much classic PS climbing. Thanks. Okay, so for women's 1 and 2, we have our 2 Iloilo climbers with 205. That is Kat, right? And with
Antonina or Justine Arungayan.
and Kat.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if since the last time I was in Iloilo, I noticed that they had a nice gym called Adventure Central, but I'm not sure if it has bouldering there.
There are those problems.
They mostly have
Yeah, rope
climbing,
climbing.
rope routes.
Okay, come on.
So we have in the comments we have a comment here saying go Dre, valid Dre.
Allergy, come on.
206. What? That's Jamie. Yeah, that's Jamie.
That's Jamie
on the
now
green.
on women's 4.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, women's 4.
So Jamie is currently consistently getting the zone hold, but she's having trouble moving past that big that big move to the right.
So this is what I was talking about a while ago, where Jamie's strength lies in rope climbing, and you can see here that what's required for this route is dynamic, jumping,
Trying to get that
dino
momentum.
climbing. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, those kind of moves. You can static them if you're strong enough, but they're gonna be a bit hard, and you have to expend more energy if when you're reaching out to them. So you actually get to use less energy if you use momentum.
Yep. It's very true, very true. So in order to be a really strong climber, you need to master both styles.
You have to be well-rounded.
Yep. Climb all types of climbing, outdoor, indoor, lead, bouldering, skate style problems.
Let's see.
Oh,
if
we have
Jamie-
Dre on the slab. Ale Dre.
Jamie switching up her beta by using her heel, but that looks.
She just needs to commit to that hold.
Yes.
And I think she should find that it's not that bad of a hold, but it is scary if you're
does-
actually up there.
Well, we can't see it entirely, but it does look like we have a jug there.
During this round. It's pretty intense actually. 5 minutes to rest. Yeah. You definitely have to commit to the training just so that
Oh, nice sweep.
feel of your forearms and keep your stamina up for
So off camera, we have Jamie securing the zone again. Can't quite get the jug on the lip.
And they can still warm up in isolation, right? Yes, most definitely they can.
Next batch of women qualifier contestants out. And we have
So on her first problem, we have Ananda.
And we have a returning competitor on women's one, Ananda Abiyad. So the last time she competed also was back in 2019. She was still in the youth circuit.
yeah, and now she's an open.
Yeah.
So she was trained, I believe, before by
By
Tito
Miel
Pahati.
Pahati.
So again, mentioning one of the strongest competitors of the golden age. Beautiful dyno by that is
Megan.
Wow, Megan's dyno skills on display right here.
So Ananda was the youth champ back in 2019 nationals.
Right.
That was also here in Beehive.
All right, our competitors taking some time to read those routes.
Come on, girl.
Choose one. Tech team. Choose one.
Thank you.
One only, guys.
All right, so we have Ia Lapid on this old school crimpy problem. Come on, Ia. The crowd is cheering her on. Hallelujah. Trying to figure out this tricky sequence here.
I think Iya is the other way around. Most of the other climbers when they started, both of their hands were on the volume instead, on the right, and they just used the volume on the left as foothold.
We have Megan moving past the dyno and onto the transition to the other side of the wall, which is still pretty overhung. No, Megan, I think, is one of the shorter competitors today, so she's having a bit of trouble transitioning because of her height.
But that does not mean she lacks the strength and power. As you can see, she's still in our top 6 and moving towards the top hold.
Nice mantle. She's using her
Her
knee
knee.
and come to reach. The crowd goes wild.
She just falls off.
So off camera, she used her knee to hold on to one of the holds. That's called a knee scum. Well, she tried to match the last hold, but her knee popped off the hold and she fell down. So, who's on women's one right now? I think that is. I cannot see the bib number.
Come on, come on.
207. That is Ananda. That is Ananda. Oh, Kitty getting that slap on women's two.
Come on, kid.
Oh, very nice contact strength there by Kitty, but can't quite get the foot stab. So we've seen climbers approach that in different ways, right? But I think the beta that has come out is actually taking the undercling first.
Yes, so far, so we have two climbers who were able to get the zone hold, and that was the prevailing beta. So once they match the second hold, they go for the undercling, then swing out right to the foothold on the volume to be stable in that.
Giving it another go.
It's crazy how easy Megan's able to stick those dynos because as far as I remember, she's been more of a static climber. But maybe I think we can probably credit training her training for this competition to her comfortability doing dynos.
Burley AF, that second round.
Burley AF, we have our host here, Ikai, telling the crowd how burly W2 seems.
It is the hardest looking problem of the five.
Yeah, it's like wrestling. It's like wrestling rocks, man, or wrestling plastic.
Sure.
All right, let's go, Iya. So Iya's she's trying a different kind of beta. She's trying to skip actually that big volume on the right, going straight for
Time is up.
far away white hold. All right, let's take a quick look at the scores. All right, so we have
So there you go. So the current scores, we still have Shell at the top of the bunch with 4 tops and 5 zones, followed by Liana with 3 tops and 5 zones. Mick also has 3 tops, but lags behind Liana by 1 zone, followed by Jem, Sai, then Megan.
So on the first of them will be Miss Ariane. And on her
okay.
second
So we have our
round
next
is
batch of
Justine.
competitors out. We have on women's
Number
one
three,
is
Ariane.
Kat.
Ariane Bartolome.
One of the newer climbers.
Newer
I
climber.
believe.
She's what they call a pandemic climber.
Right, right.
She started climbing during since 2020 during all the lockdowns and closures. So
Oh wow, we have Sai making short work. Oh, spoke too soon. Easy for Sai.
so we see a top from side. That was a flash, right?
I think so.
was
Yeah.
a flash.
Yeah, they just came out, so it must have been a flash.
So just a few notes on Ariane as a new climber. She's placed in her short time of competing. She's placed several times already in one of the all-female local competitions here, Ale. She's placed in top rope and also in bouldering. So she's also won in Beehive competitions, the early edition of Queso de Boulder. So in terms of competing, she's been very
Cat
successful.
almost gets to the third volume, but can't quite stick it. So there's a specific angle you should be targeting, going for that volume.
Let's just say you're looking for extra muscle that can help you push through with the movement you're trying to do. Trust and believe. It might sound bad at first, but yes. Like that extra chest to the push when you exhale, you go straight.
Let's check out our live chat. Let's see if any comments, any questions people would like to know. Maybe we can answer them.
Yeah, just scream it out, girls. No problem.
Just people shouting out support. Let's go, let's
Let's
go.
go, girls.
Okay, so we have Kat Kat from Iloilo on
Majesty.
the white. Ah, the judge just called out a false start that will count as an attempt. So when you climb in competitions, you should make sure that you don't have a false start, and that means having both your hands and both your feet on the designated start holds.
So if you look at the starting holds on each boulder problem, you'll have like lines or colored lines on them. When a volume or a hold has two lines, that means you have to have two of your limbs
Come on, come on.
on that hold or on that volume.
Yes.
Ale, Kat!
And say if you have if you have holds with one line, then that means you have to have at least one of your limbs on that particular hold.
We have Ariane going for women's one.
Come on, Jamie.
And Jamie Nung on women's five. You can't see it right now, but she has got in the zone.
Come on.
Now this, I think, is more of Jamie's style.
That does not look like a very good hold that she's moving on to.
Announce that we will be opening the men's open category registration in a few minutes. I take it back now na pala. But those, so our competitors for the men's open qualifiers, please proceed to the
We have Ariane here
the door by the
on
isolation
women's
room
one.
to start registration. Not here by the competition area, but by the isolation room entrance way. Thank you. So lahat ng mga competitors na ngayon dito sa audience area, punta na kayo sa isolation area to register.
Who's on W2 right now?
This is Justine Arongaya.
Justine. So our two Iloilo climbers are on the wall right now. We have Kat fighting for this old school white crimp problem. Very good attempts, valiant attempts by our competitors. And the next batch of climbers coming out.
So we have on women's one on the red problem is Praj de la Cruz, coming from the US.
Our climber
So
on the first
Praj
wall,
is
we
our
have
youngest
Praj.
climber. She's around 11 years old, but already has gold medals.
On wall number
Yes,
three,
gold
we
medals
have
in IFSC's Asian Kids Championship during 2022. She has two gold medals, one for speed, one for bouldering, and one silver medal for combined. So she's coming from the youth circuit, so the problems she's encountered are very different from the ones we've seen today. Typically, youth problems are set to take into account the height of the climbers. Wow, we have Iya Lapid campusing the green problem, making it look easy.
Nice.
I think
Now Iya is progressing on women's four, heading for a flash.
Ale, the crowd is going wild. Ale, Iya. She just needs to figure out how to. It's a tricky move in that corner, actually. A lot of competitors are not able to match the last hold unless they use the sidewall or the erect as support with their right foot. So let's see if she can figure that out. Yeah, there we go.
Oh!
Are we okay?
Oh!